you get every single night? Man, we are getting pounded by the kind of sleep we're supposed to have versus what we're actually getting. And sleep is so vital. Just ask me. I'm somebody my entire life from the time I was born. I've tossed and turned, stayed up late, had battles with insomnia, etc. I know many of you listening to this show can relate to that. So how much is the amount that we're supposed to get? Is 7 hours, because we keep hearing that, of sleep the ideal amount for optimum health? In our green room right now, he might be sleeping, hopefully not, Daniel Levendowski, president and co-founder of Advanced Brain Monitoring, is here to talk about this. So, Daniel, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for inviting me.
Is the goal at least 7 hours?
Well, the current literature is really contradictory in that it really is saying that it should be more than 6 and less than 10. And there is a range between 6 and 10 that is really that amount of sleep that doesn't have as much of an impact on diseases such as obesity, diabetes, stroke, and so on, hypertension. So I don't know if the 7 or 8 hours, it's a bit controversial right now, but it's not as clear in the scientific literature.
Yeah, how much do you think we talk about sleep? Let me tell you, I used to say the common denominator for everybody when we get on the elevator, when we're kind of standing there, is, geez, the weather. Now, I'm not kidding you. A lot of times I'll hear people talking about, geez, I'm really exhausted. Wow, I didn't get much sleep. You don't even know them, and they're talking about sleep. Sleep is on our mind all the time, isn't it?
Absolutely. It's as we end up having more stress in our lives, that compromises the quality of our sleep, which is just as important as the length of our sleep. There's a lot of focus on 7 to 8 hours, but really it's a question of, are you getting 7 really good hours of sleep, or is it where you're waking up and having difficulty falling asleep throughout the night? So it's really, quality is just as important as quantity.
So you talked about stress and whatnot. What happens when you don't get a lot of sleep? Well, let's say you're just one of those people that you get 3 hours here, 5 hours there. One day, geez, you get 8. You're all over the map. I think some people think you can store it up, but you can't.
You really, well, I would arguably say that on night to night, so if you have difficulty, if you wake up in the middle of the night, if you have what they call sleep maintenance insomnia, you wake up in the middle of the night and then have difficulty falling back asleep, generally what happens is on the second or the third night, you're so fatigued, you'll sleep through the night and catch up a little bit. And there's a lot of people that also catch up on the weekend. So there is a way that, in fact, you can catch up to some degree on the amount of missing sleep. What is important is that you get enough sleep each night so that you go through each of the stages of sleep that are important for good physical and mental health.
So I just came back from New York. I was there for the U.S. Open, and I met a friend there, and it turns out she snores. Oh, my. Trying to sleep through snoring was absolutely crazy, and she denied she snored, but of course she did. Is snoring something you should be concerned about? Is it dangerous?
Snoring is actually a predictor of those that may, in fact, have sleep apnea. And sleep apnea is a condition where the airway either partially or completely collapses during sleep because the muscles relax. And that inhibits your ability to breathe and to provide oxygen to the brain and your heart. So having undiagnosed sleep apnea is very, very compromising to health and well-being. Snoring is a precursor, if you would, that many people who may snore when they're younger are more likely to develop sleep apnea as they get older. And snoring is also, for those that are very loud snoring, you hear about the people who have to sleep in different rooms because their bed partner snores so loudly. It's very likely that if their snoring is that loud, that they have sleep apnea.
Yeah. We're speaking with Daniel Levendowski, president and co-founder of Advanced Brain Monitoring. And one of the things that you've come up with is a product called Nightshift that just cleared a hurdle by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. And this is, as I understand it, directly for the treatment of positional obstructive sleep apnea. So explain how it works.
So Nightshift is worn around the neck. It is intended to keep you off your back. When you sleep on your back, gravity plays a role in collapsing the airway. And so what happens is people end up having more events and deeper desaturations, getting the lack of oxygen to the brain and the heart when they're sleeping on